creepy stories. Just have a colour on my hair and I don't want my hair to be jet black, so I need to make this really quick. This woman sent me a DM. For her job, she travels around a lot. She's very used to staying on her own, and so she's not a scaredy cat. She goes to check in at this hotel and she always specifically asks for a room on the ground floor. She booked months in advance. She goes to book in. They tell her that her room is on the second floor and she's like, absolutely not. I need a room that is on the ground floor. And they're like, we just don't have one. Anyway, there's a bit of a to-do and she's like digging her heels in a little bit, and eventually, reluctantly, the manager's like, okay, we do have a room on the ground floor. And she's like, okay, why don't you just say that? It's not as nice as the room that you have booked. Anyway, she goes into the room and it's like exactly what she has booked, and she's like, okay, that's weird. Takes a shower. When she comes out of the shower, there is a glass of water by the bed, and she's like, I don't think I poured that, but she's like, I am a little bit delirious at this point. I've been up since like 5 a.m. Maybe I did, but in the back of her mind she's thinking, I don't think I did that. Anyway, she goes to do her work thing, like her conference. She comes back the next day and she finds a pair of slippers, just one, that she did not bring with her, and they are like hidden under the bed. And she's like, oh, the room obviously hasn't been cleaned properly. She rings the hotel and she says like, oh, I found somebody else's property in my room. Has to go to like this client dinner, and so she has to get ready, and she goes to do her makeup, but there are several bits of her makeup that are just missing, and so she thinks to herself, maybe I didn't pack it. She's sure that she didn't leave them at home, but weird, but she thinks, okay, fine. When she's done getting ready in the bathroom, she comes out and there's another glass of water, and she starts to wonder if maybe this is part of like the turn down service, you know, where sometimes hotels will leave like a bar of chocolate on your bed or whatever. She starts to think maybe that's what this hotel does. Later that night, she comes in from the dinner and she goes to go to sleep, but when she's in bed, she can hear like a scratching noise from behind her head, and it's creeping her out. She starts to think that maybe there's like a mouse or a rat or something weird like that, and whatever it is, it's causing her not to be able to sleep. So she pulls the bed out, and behind the bed she finds this little door, like just a little door. And you know, sometimes in old buildings they have like random little cubby holes. Around the same time, some of the other people that she works with are walking past her room because they went out for drinks afterwards, and so on hearing these guys' voices, she goes out and calls them into her room and asks them if they can hear the scratching noise from behind the door. And this particular guy's like, yeah, I can hear that, that is strange. He gets out his phone light and he tries to have a look through this little like lock part to see if he could see any like small animals in there or whatever. So he's looking really intently, and all of a sudden he just screams out, drops his phone, and they're like, what did you see? What the hell is it? Just felt like I saw a man's face, like I felt like I saw somebody looking back at me through this little keyhole. Anyway, he feels like he must be mistaken, but he seems pretty like shook up by it, and when they have a look again, they can't see anything in there at all. He gets up and leaves, but now this is in the back of her head the entire time, so she cannot sleep. She texts the entire group and she tells them like, I can't sleep. They're all texting back and forth, and so this guy, he offers to stay in that room. While this man is in that room, he starts to hear the voice of a man saying, help me, and so he is now like fully freaked out. He's thinking, there is a man in there, I was right, like maybe he's stuck, maybe it's like a maintenance worker, maybe he's gotten in there and now he can't get out. So he calls the hotel staff. They come up and they're like, there's nothing in there. The hotel used to be an old house and it was like one of those dumbwaiters. Behind that door, that is just a straight drop down to the basement. There's no level. And because of all the weirdness, they decide they don't want to stay in that room, so they go to the front desk and they tell the front desk like, listen, we need to be moved rooms, there's something very weird about that room. The woman whose room it is, she sees the person behind the desk make a weird face. What was that face about? And the woman says, about 4 weeks ago, a man unalived himself in that room, and you're the first person that's staying in there since. And the reason we didn't want to open to the public yet is because every member of staff who has been in there since has reported hearing a man saying, help me. So the hotel, they were actually just planning to like seal that room off and have it as like storage, but then obviously she had kicked off so much, but they had given it to her, and this was like their confirmation. Now they are never letting anybody stay in that room again. So yeah.